Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, to the MAI Bangkok Business Challenge ESSEC 2016. So this is the final round. Today we have 6 ventures who are presenting their business ideas to our panel of judges. We are now through our 3rd venture. Please give a warm welcome to Team Green Earth Recycling from ESSEC Business School, France. So let me remind the team, you have a total of 30 minutes, okay? And then after 5 minutes, it's fully interactive, all right? And then these ladies in front here will give you 2 time warnings before the end, so 1 at 3 minutes and 1 at 1 minute before the end. Okay, are you ready? Feel good? Not too nervous? No? Okay. You have the mic? Yep. So, yeah, just make sure you speak close to the mic, so our audience at home can listen, can hear from you as well. Okay. You ready? All right. So we will start the clock as soon as you start. Okay. Good luck.
Sawadee, good morning and bonjour. We are the Green Earth Recycling Venture from ESSEC Business School, France. What we want to do is make money out of waste by recycling printed circuit boards. Imagine we can produce 36 million worth precious metals by recycling 1 million cell phone discarded chips. Imagine the impact if we can recycle all the e-waste that is generated. While we're making the money, we also want to be sustainable. We want to create a positive impact on society as well as environment. How do you want to do that? We want to set up a plant, recycling plant, using advanced pyrolysis process in south of India. This process is tested and is already in operations in 3 countries, France, Canada, and in China. What are the advantages of this process? It has 4% higher yield compared to the competitors. It produces the end material, which is 6% high price, and then which boils down to 20% increase in revenues. We also benefit from what we call the 000 advantage, which is 0 energy wasted, zero final wastage, and 0 emissions. The emissions are moderated and certified by ADEME, the French Institute for Environmental and Energy Management. We will benefit from the experience of our team members, the management team, who have diverse experience in various functionalities and various sectors. We are partnering with Mr. Christian Thomas, who is the CEO of Terra Nova Metals, who will give us the licenses the process exclusively for Southeast Asian markets. We will be advised by Professor Jill Van Wyk, who will be acting as a strategy advisor, and we are partnering with Abhimanyu Mehra of Akanksha Contractors for construction part.
So let's see the market scenario. So what's happening? Every year, we are generating 20 to 50 million tons of e-waste. Of that, only 10 to 18% is recycled. In addition to that, the electronic industry is growing at a tremendous rate. By 2020, it will reach $19 trillion, and in India, it will reach 400 billion. These e-waste are dumped in Asian and African countries, which is recycled by the informal sector in a very unsafe manner, resulting in environmental health hazard. Location, why India? India is a growing economy. The initiatives by the current government, such as the Make in India campaign, the startup tax holidays, will trigger further growth in the economy, resulting in more e-waste generation. Why Visakhapatnam? We want to position ourselves in close proximity to top 3 e-waste generating cities in southern India. In addition to that, we are in close proximity to the port, so that it will be easier for us to ship to our European customers, with whom we have an in-principle agreement with. Next, we will be located in a special economic zone, which will give benefits to us. Last but not the least, our major competitor is located in northern India, so we want to encash the opportunity in the southern India.
Let me take you through the process overview. We collect the printed circuit boards and shred them into smaller pieces and subject them to magnetic and eddy current separation in order to remove iron and aluminum. The processed printed circuit boards are then subjected to pyrolysis in a pyrolysis furnace, which is the heart of our process. It reduces the formation of alumina and increases the pyrolysis amount of the plastic almost to 100%. The burnt plastics are then further processed in an afterburner and reduced to smaller compounds. The toxic gases are then subjected to absorption using activated carbon and sodium bicarbonate. The pellets are produced from the furnace and are shipped to the customers.
Yeah, let's take a close look at the composition of our product. The initial composition in PCBs includes plastics, resins, glass fibers, and the lamp metals. At the first step of our process, we will target at remove the plastic and the resins completely. This makes our product very high quality on the market. After that, we will target at remove the glass fibers and the aluminum and the irons by 50%. This not only make our product less impurity, also it will help our client to reduce the cost for further processing. The last, we will be able to keep the precious metals such as gold and silver in our final product. And most important, we also can keep the rare metals, rare earth metals inside our metal pellet. This will give us a very unique advantages on the market.
Now let's look at the supply chain. So our major supplier will be the corporate clients, followed by the informal sector and the public sector. Our future supply will include import from foreign countries and then direct consumer collection. These electronic waste will be procured by a local partner who will dismantle the e-waste and ship the PCB to our plant, where we will recycle it and ship it to our European smelters, such as Orobis in Germany and Metallo in Belgium. In addition to that, we have iron and aluminum buyers and steam consumers, which will be the additional source of revenue for us. So what is the value add we are giving when compared to our competitors? Since we are engaging a local partner, we will be reducing the warehouse cost in each city. Secondly, we want to integrate the informal sector as part of our supply chain. Third, because of our location, we will be able to reduce our logistic cost. How about the customer? Our final metal pellet has less impurities and 4% higher yield. Because of that, it will be easier for the smelter to quickly extract the precious metal from it. How sustainable we are? We want to integrate the informal sector as part of our supply chain. Thus, we will be able to transform the life of those people. Because of a 000 advantage, we will be able to reduce the environmental impact. And last, in terms of economic impact, we will be a profitable venture, but still will be able to make an impact in the informal sector. How? Currently, the procurement price from the informal sector is high. So that's why our competitors are relying more on import. But we want to disrupt that scenario by engaging with the informal sector, having a strategic alliance with them. This win-win situation will help us to procure from them at a competitive price.
Sorry, can you explain more on your strategy on engaging informal sector and elaborate more on that?
Yes, right. To answer that question, so informal sector is so disorganized, and right now more than 90% of the e-waste is recycled by the informal sector. So what we want to do is we want to engage with them and integrate them as part of our supply chain. What our competitors are currently doing is they're paying them high price. Because of that, their profit is taking a hit. So there is a change in the proportion, so they're relying more on import from foreign countries. We don't want that to happen. So
how are you engaging informal sector?
Yeah, how we are engaging is like we want to train them, create awareness program among themselves, provide them with tools. But this alliance will take minimum 5 to 7 years to take place because of the social fabric condition. We will engage with NGOs, do a social study on those regions where we want to have the partnership, and based on that, we will be able to create the alliance.
So can you explain to me again? You said your competitors were paying a higher price for these, and then so what's your how are you attracting them into? What's your value proposition to the informal sector to work with you again?
Right. So we want to provide them with tools, and then we want to give them training to do a safer dismantling. So right now, what they're doing is they're doing the dismantling as well as they are open burning the PCBs, which is harmful to the environment as well as contaminating the water source.
Understand.
So we want to prevent that by providing them tools and awareness program. Because of the social fabric condition, it will be tough for this to take place in a short term.
Understand. So
Yeah.
so you provide them tools. It's safer. It's better for them. Do you buy them at the same price as your competitors, or buy them at a lower price, higher
Yeah.
price?
Because of this alliance, we will be able to establish a trust with them. So because of that, we will be able to buy at a competitive price, not at a higher price.
What happens if you work with them, help them, which is great for them, and then in turn, they say, I want to sell to your competitors, or at least you must buy at the same price as our competitors?
Right. So to answer this question, so we want to increase the efficiency in the way they are working. So right now they're using manual process in dismantling the electronic device, but we want to increase that dismantling efficiency.
It's almost impossible what you're talking about. To go to people and at the lowest level of society and tell them, we're going to pay you less, but we're going to train you and all this. It is not possible. So explain to me how you're going to get there. I don't understand. And if it doesn't work, what's your plan B?
Right. In long term, it will work because we have done.
No, I say it won't work. I'm the judge. Convince me that it will.
Okay. So right now what is happening in the informal sector is it's so disorganized. The people, they collect from different sources, and there is a boss. So the boss engage different workers, and then he's a sole person who set the price. Right now we want to disrupt the connection between those two scenarios, so we want to directly contact the bottom of the pyramid. They're
not going to let you do that.
Yeah, no, yes. That's why we said it will take minimum 5 to 7 years to form the alliance. And as a backup scenario, if you're not able to make that happen, we have an import as an option. So because of that, we will have a consistent supply of raw materials.
And sorry.
Forgive me for not knowing your specific names, but the gentleman in the red tie. What is your position, your title?
I'm the COO, operating officer.
Okay, good. I got the right one then to answer this. If I was considering an investment in your company, a statement you made would have scared me to death. And I wrote it down verbatim, so I'm going to quote it and would like you to expand on it. Terra Nova will give us the licenses.
To use this technology.
If I'm investing in a company and somebody tells me somebody else, a third party, is going to give me the licenses to run this, so this company can be successful, and I want you to take my word for it to invest in this, it doesn't, tell me about these licenses. What has Terra Nova told you? You don't have anything in writing from them yet? You don't have any agreements? You don't have any contracts?
We have an in-principle agreement with them.
You have a what?
In-principle agreement. It's more of a verbal contract. It's a commitment from him that it will be exclusive for us for the Southeast Asian markets. And they own the patent for this process. So we cannot take the process away from them.
In the future, I would say, and I'm not trying to give you an overly hard time, I'm just saying as an investor, I would change the wording on that and not come out and say, "Will give us the licenses." That doesn't happen, especially when I'm looking farther into your program here and you're saying the plant requires a $17.9 million investment and will pay back in 5 years. Really?
Yes, sir, as per our calculations.
And the plant will take 18 months, including to buy the land, purchasing the land, obtaining the regulatory approvals, engineering, construction, and installation in 18 months.
So,
Are all 5 of you comfortable, or am I the only one uncomfortable with that timeline?
So we already have initiated the process. The construction partner has, political ties in the central government, and we have already initiated this process for obtaining regulatory approvals. And also, we have spoken to the bureaucrats at the ground level at in the city to facilitate the faster approval processes. This has been in the process since quite some time.
How long?
Sir?
How long has the process been going on?
It's been from 3 months, sir.
Since when?
3 months.
3 months.
And
Maybe long for a young person. Thank you.
Back to the input and output a bit. You mentioned the capacity of the plant at 30,000
yes,
tons per year, right?
of raw material.
That's the output or the input?
The input.
That's the input, okay. So let's say 100 tons of input. How many tons of output?
For 1 ton of input, we'll produce 330 kgs of metallic waste.
No, I mean in terms of tons. It's copper, right?
No, it's the metal pellets, sir.
Metal pellets.
It consists of copper, gold, and silver. It's
Everything mixed together.
everything mixed together.
How
These will be
how many tons?
330 0.33 tons.
30, okay, 35, right?
33%.
33, okay. How much is the selling price?
Selling price is estimated around $5,000 per ton.
$5,000. Okay. So can you show me, let's say in year 4, all right? How much of the output and input? How many in terms of tons? In your forecast, you are mentioning about 27 million revenue.
In year 4, we assumed 700 tons per month to start out at a low rate, and then starting in mid-year 4, excuse me, did you hear me? And then starting mid-year 4, we'll ramp up to 1,400 tons per month through year 5. So although we have a max capacity, we say we have a max capacity of 30,000, our cost estimate is based on ramping up and then with future growth to expand.
But 1,400 is the input will be more than 30,000, right?
Well, no, our raw material will be 1,400 tons per month, and then our salvage rate will be 33% of that.
Multiply that by 5,000.
Yes.
Okay.
During this 18-month period, when you're buying land, building a plant, getting engineering, construction, and regulatory approvals, do you not anticipate any of the, as you have listed here, 126 registered competitors saying, hey, look what's going down in the south of India, let's go down there and blunt the competition?
Sir, out of the 120, we have 70 who are dismantlers, who just dismantle the electronic gadgets to produce PCBs. They will be our possible vendors. And out of the remaining, vast majority of them are very small scale vendors, and they operate at a very small capacities to the tune of maybe a few thousand tons per annum. And we have one major competitor, who is Etiro, who indulges in end-to-end recycling. They start from collecting the equipment, dismantling it, and then they have recently established a smelter to process to refine the metal pellets to extract the precious metals. So they are an end-to-end processor.
What is the name of that company?
Etiro.
Aren't they owned by Tata?
No, they're not owned by Tata. It's developed by 2 entrepreneurs, and it's funded by IFC, World Bank concern.
Okay, thank you.
So your key competitive advantage as opposed to your competitor is basically ability to engage informal sector and getting a lower raw material price. Am I correct?
And the process, the technology. We have higher yield and high quantity.
And your projection, do you base your raw material price on that price, or you base it on the market price of imports?
So we've based our pricing on the market price. And I'd like to add to our competitive advantage, because we get a higher yield, that'll put us in a more competitive situation to negotiate with our suppliers at a higher cost if we need to. And also, we can absorb more of the market fluctuations because we generate more from the same material that our competitors do.
Right, to that point, I was looking at it because you said 21% more revenues, right? That's pretty much the leeway that you have to play with, right?
Yes.
So my premise is if you want to steal, input from the existing players, you would likely need to pay them a higher price. Now, the concern that I have is when I look at it, so jumping ahead a bit, is when I look at the IRR, right, today, even though you're assuming just market price, your IRR is already at 38%. What happens if that input price goes up by 10%, 20%? How would that impact your IRR?
Well,
It does reduce. It does reduce. And we haven't calculated the scenarios. We haven't, maybe 25 to 28% if it is an increase of 10% by the price. And
So now we're talking about an area of, let's say, investing in the stock market. You can almost get an IRR, let's say, concept of maybe 15% or so. So now you've got a extremely capital-intensive, expensive business that you're asking us to invest in, and we've just asked you a scenario analysis that has brought the IRR down quite low. Can you convince us that this really is worth us investing in?
it is still higher than the normal market returns.
Yes,
And
yes, but market returns, I can get in and out of those stocks anytime I want, and I don't have to deal with all the startup problems that you're going to face.
To answer, add to his point, you talked about the rise in input cost. So to avoid that, we can do an import. So import is it's very, very less expensive compared to other source of raw materials. Even Terra Nova and other plants in Canada, they do import of raw materials, so it's cheaper for them.
I wouldn't go there, right? Because once you go to imports, you're competing with every importer around the globe, right? And I wouldn't even go there, right? So I think I would suggest you focus on the domestic market, how you're going to survive based on the domestic market.
Yeah, in case if there is, yeah.
So by integrating the vendors in our process as a supply chain, as an integral part of a supply chain, we will be able to address this. Of course, it will take some time, maybe 5 years to 7 years, but we're confident that we'll be able to. To add to it, the actions that we have taken, the construction partner, Mr. Abhimanyu Mehra, hails from New Delhi, and he has already engaged in discussions with the actual dismantlers who produces, not the middlemen, but the actual dismantlers. And we have already segregated the geographies in 3 parts. One is north of India, 2 is Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, which produces higher e-waste. That will be handled by Praveen, and I will take care of the Telangana region, which consists of Hyderabad, and I will be visiting the e-waste dismantlers and trying to establish the ties with them. This is our action plan at this point of time, of which we have taken the initial steps. We are confident that we will be able to process with this.
Since you're asking, I mean, 17.9 million is not a small amount for 10%. So you're valuing the company that has yet to start at $171 million. You're confident with those numbers, huh?
And in our cost baseline, we believe we'll have opportunities.
You better.
I'm sorry?
You better.
Oh, we did. We weren't aggressive in our cost estimation. We added contingencies in our cost. We used max pricing. We didn't try to, reduce any at this point. So we believe we have a conservative estimate.
Since Terra Nova is going to give you the licenses to do this, how much is Terra Nova willing to put into the investment?
5%. 5%.
So they're 8 million. Yeah.
5%.
Is that
5%? No, 5%, not 50%. 5%.
Yeah, 5%. Oh, 5% of the 17.9?
Yes.
So just one comment. I would suggest you not use the word conservative on your financial projections.
Okay.
Answering to your question about Terra Nova, what they agreed to us, like they will procure the raw materials from us for further processing. And because they have contacts in Europe in terms of the smelters, so we got our end customers through them. So that will be the value add. And in addition to that, right now Terra Nova is expanding into smelting business and also high-end PCB processing. So that technology in future we can implement in India.
What Terra Nova has really done is told you if you go out and find somebody to write you a check for $18 million, they'll let you use their licenses to expand into India, which they could easily do themselves if they were specifically interested in that market.
We'll be generating value for ourselves and for the investors as well in this process. So it's a win-win. We consider it's a win-win scenario.
What is Terra Nova doing? What's the business of Terra Nova?
Terra Nova is into R&D, and
But why would they buy the products from you?
they have a plant in they have a plant.
Yeah,
in
what
France.
is the plant doing?
The plant, at this point of time, they are indulging in the same process, but they have plans to expand into the smelting business.
But who, the metal pellets,
The metal
is used for what?
The metal pellets are used to extract the precious metals, copper, gold, and silver.
So that means you mix it and then extract it again.
So we can demonstrate. We have the samples of.
Answer my question.
Yeah.
And silver,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you mix it up, it become metal pellets.
Yeah.
You sell the metal pellets,
Yeah.
and they extract the copper out of it.
Yeah.
Why doing that?
So because there is plastic, and plastic, if you want to extract the precious metals from directly the PCBs, the plastic causes the impurities and reduces the value of the end products. So we want to remove the plastics, and that's the reason we are doing the process of.
Can I ask about that? Do you have some kind of agreement that you have an offtake agreement so that, let's say, 50%, 100% of what you produce, you know exactly where you're going to sell it, and they're eager to get it? And tell us about that.
Yes, sir. The capacities of smelters in the European smelters are not completely met. They have the capacities at 25,000 tons, and they are not completely met. They are not operating at the full capacities at this point of time.
But not all of them can accept non-virgin or mixed up stuff. They need it in a certain way.
The
so
targeted-
who's going to take these pellets? Who are you selling to? Who's your customer?
Our customers.
The customers are Obris in Germany and Metallo in Belgium. So they are basically copper smelters. So our end pellets, if you can see over there, it has maximum proportion of copper, then followed by gold and silver. So we will sell to copper smelters, and they will extract the copper out of it.
And is the pellet that you're shipping, is it standardized in the volume, or is it always changing in the volume of gold versus copper versus what? Is the technology making it standard, or is it just whatever it is?
No, it depends on the input that we're giving, the raw material that we're giving. So we do a sample analysis of the raw material, and then we can estimate what could be the end product. And so also the smelters also do a sample analysis of the.
So it's possible that you could go through a period of time where the price that's being paid for that pellet is reduced because of the quantity of the most valuable element is reduced for some period of time or something.
So the essential way to tackle this is to maintain a consistency in the raw material by standardizing the kind of PCBs that we're getting. So ideally, we will be targeting.
I would suspect that you have less control over that, but
I'd like to input. Yeah. So our cost estimate, because we're cognizant of this variable pricing based on low, medium, or high grade quality, this drives price. So in our estimate, we used a 60% weight on our medium quality, 20% weight on our low, and 20% high, just to give us a midline average unit cost and average unit price. We understand that this can fluctuate, but in this baseline cost, we felt that was the most prudent estimate. So we've taken that into account.
Most of the raw materials will be from the smartphones, right?
Smartphones and
The
computers.
chip in the smartphone, right?
Smartphones and computers.
Can you tell us your plan? How would you collect it?
So we will engage corporate clients, informal sector and public sector. So we will engage a local partner who will procure from them the entire device, not just the PCB. So then they will dismantle and they will just ship the PCB. So we are just looking for the PCB, then we will recycle it. In case we are not able to meet the demand from the domestic market, we can do an import. So in that way, we can operate at maximum capacity. So that is how we do the procurement.
So okay for them to pay tax on that because you have to pay them the money?
Right. What happens is we have to pay them the money, but since if you take any electronic device, only 3% constitute of the PCB. So we just pay for the 3% to the local partner. So it's a local partner who will be paying for the remaining component.
I would have thought that in the past it's so informal. It's not on records, right? And now it will be on record. So everyone in the chain will have to pay tax or it can be tracked easily. How could they, how would you explain them, make them comfortable on that?
So the bottom level of the pyramid, the middleman will have higher quantity, and you have the tax brackets where you have certain income, say suppose 5 lakhs of income in India, which is below taxable income. So these people will not have so much of income, and they don't have to be paying the taxes for that. So that way, when we are when we are targeting the lower at the bottom of the pyramid, we will be able to minimize the tax impact on it.
So I would just like to add, because we have no time. So so I would just like to add that to reach out to our supplier base, we want to use a more collaborative approach. So you see that we will engage them with them in terms of seminar, workshops, training, where we have a lot of face-to-face interaction. So we build a relationship with them, so that it will be instead of like a just buying and selling, we will engage with them, so we understand what they really require. So it's more of like a long-term approach.
Thank you. I'm afraid time's up. Thank you very much, Greeners Recycling from ESSEC Business School, France. Thank you. So we take a short break while